Hello, and welcome back to our Maimeri Blue exploration of this stunning collection of colors. Again, my name is Sarah Simon, and I'm the Mint Gardener, and you're joining me as we explore these different pigments that we have hand-selected to create this unique color combination palette. You can see I am starting to wake up these individual paints. That is our permanent red deep. It is pretty stunning. And I'm starting to create different types of watercolor washes to try to explore each individual color. And then we're also going to look at what it looks like when you combine these different colors together. So I'm going to be creating a series of watercolor washes with all of these different colors. Now, what is a watercolor wash? It's a transparent layer of color on paper. Nothing fancy, okay? But you can do it in many different ways. You can see I've explored a wash on the top, which is a combination of the paint and the water. All right, straight onto the page in a brush stroke. And then that second wash beneath it, and the one that you're watching me currently paint, is a wash of water laid down first, and then these stunning colors dropped in. You can see the saturation levels. You can actually see the paint moving in the water, which is one of the most relaxing things to observe and to be a part of when you're painting. Okay, so we're going to create these incredible different wash colors and really kind of stretch these pigments to see what they're made of. Okay, now one of the main reasons I love working with Maimeri watercolors, and one of the reasons a lot of people have fallen in love with them over the years, is because of their ease of use. Why are they easy to use? Primarily because they are single pigment focuses. Okay. So Maimeri Blue utilizes a large number of single pigment colors, allowing for exceptional color purity and clarity in each of their colors. This means that when you're trying to color match, let's say you want to paint that exact beautiful burnt red rose color that you see in the garden and your favorite flower that comes back every year. Sitting down and trying to make that with a collection of primary colors can feel very daunting. However, when you do it with paint that is super quality and that is made with minimal pigments, it makes the artist's job of mixing colors that much more enjoyable, because what you see is truly what you get out of the tube. So when you combine single pigment tube watercolors or in cake form, it leads to a lot less muddiness because you don't have a lot of other things going into the actual making of the paint, okay? So Maimeri Blue uses a natural gum arabic and glycerin. It's a natural gum arabic and glycerin along with meticulously selected pigments. So it contributes to a smooth flow, a vibrant color, and a really lasting quality of the paints. And it makes it easier to mix them because there's not as much going on inside the paints. It leaves it up to the artist to be able to really create these vibrant colors, okay? It's incredible too because they stand alone as amazing colors that you would want to use just straight out of the tube. But also, as you can see, as I'm playing on my little saucer, combining the two different colors, the three different colors, and creating this interesting collection of tonal values just from this minimal amount of paints, you're able to create so much beauty. So I'm taking the different colors and combining them with red. The reason I chose, when I'm starting a color palette, when I'm looking at colors, the reason I choose things, first and foremost, I like to look at my primary colors. I pick a favorite red, a favorite yellow, and a favorite blue. Because the theory is when you have all of those three colors, you can mix so many different colors just from those three secondary, tertiary colors, right? So that's what I'm playing with right now is I've got my permanent red deep, my Naples yellow, and my Payne's gray. And with those three, I'm able to create some incredible tonal shades. Now, Dragon's blood is one of those unique colors. If you're more familiar with the classical named colors, you could say that dragon's blood is really an elevated burnt sienna and is in a class of her own. When a paint is called dragon's blood, I don't know if there's anything in you that can resist actually trying to paint with this paint because it is so delightful just in the name. And then you use it and you're floored by the color and the amazingness. But I will say that I use a burnt sienna tone very often in all of my paintings because it is a burnished red. Okay, we can't mix our own primary colors. So the more variation you can get in primary colors, the better. And a burnt sienna type color is always fantastic to have on hand because it mixes well with mostly everything. So my dragon's blood combined with all the different colors is a delight. And now I'm playing with my Naples yellow. You'll notice this yellow has an opacity to it. A lot of my paintings, I like a little bit of opacity, which all that means is less transparency. Watercolor is known for being transparent, but the moment you add a little bit of a chalky whiteness to any of the painting collaborations right inside the tube, you end up with a creaminess to your color. So much like I like adding cream to my coffee every morning, I do love a color on my palette to have that creaminess added in. You can see right there the variation in greens that we can get, and you can get different greens from mixing the yellow with the actual hooker's green, but then you can get a huge variety of greens by mixing your yellow and your blue. And look at that incredibly cool, kind of sagey green color. And by combining those colors and then adding water, you're able to stretch that color super thin and super saturated. You can see how saturated those colors are. So that is what I'm playing with. I've devoted this whole page to just taking different combinations of the paint, and seeing what it can do. It's kind of like taking a car out for a test drive. You never know what colors you can make if you don't try. And keeping this sheet handy. So after you have these colors and you've combined each one individually and then each one across the color wheel, you can create a really cool color chart. And if you hang this color chart up on your wall, you can then reference it when you're creating your piece. Sometimes you're creating a composition and you don't know what color is next. What color is needed to complete this composition? And having a color sheet like this up on your wall allows you to reference what these paints can actually do. Now, again, remember I mentioned loving a chalkiness to my paint and having that option to add the opacity. You can do that with the pure white as well. And all of a sudden, this vibrant, saturated set can also create a line of pastels, which is a delight because you can take this set and make an incredible autumnal palette. You can see how bright those autumn leaves would be. Look at the way that moves. It's incredible. But then the moment you add some white, all of a sudden you have a spring palette. So you have those shoulder season palettes in this. And if you can create autumn and spring, winter and summer are not far behind. So it's kind of fun to be able to make warm and cool color palette combinations with just 6 colors. This is where we play. This is where we discover. When I'm creating palettes like this, I often think of myself as a bit of a scientist. It's what happens when I do this, and if I do this, what happens? By not being too attached to your outcome and worrying about, oh my goodness, what's going to happen if I do this? Am I going to ruin my piece? You're able to play, and that's the joy of it.